All right, Mayor.
I'd like to welcome everybody here to the city of Bethlehem for just another beautiful day. It's like we get to pick the weather for events like today, and it's such a symbol of who we are as a community. Before we start talking about all of the amazing things that are going on here today, thanks to our governor and our elected officials, I do want to acknowledge some of our elected officials that are here. We have Congresswoman Susan Wild with us.
Hello.
We have State Senator Lisa Boscola here.
Yay.
We have State Representative Jeannie McNeil. We have State Representative Steve Samuelson as well. And obviously, we are here as well to thank our just fantastic governor, Governor Shapiro.
Thank you.
Who is joining us, who it seems like you're here every week. And, you know, people talk about getting all 67 counties and things during campaigns, but it seems like Governor Shapiro and his staff gets to every corner of Pennsylvania every week because he knows that there's work to be done. And the story that we're going to talk about today with the Bethlehem Greenway is really that story of Bethlehem, about how we've accomplished so much in the Lehigh Valley and how much is getting accomplished across Pennsylvania. With that spirit of collaboration, of cooperation. We're outside the Bethlehem Greenway here, and the governor likes to talk about how we can do big things in Pennsylvania. But we know good government is often a grind. It takes great people within your city halls, within our state house, within our state senate, within the governor's administration to be able to turn ideas into actual work and actual benefits for your community. And the South Bethlehem Greenway is one of the things that when people come to Bethlehem, they ask that question: how was it done? How did you do it? How did you turn that old railway into a greenway that is a center for culture? It's a center for recreation, for bikes, for families, for people walking and just having a conversation with people. And you don't see a lot of projects like that in Pennsylvania, and it is about collaboration and cooperation. And we could not be happier to be talking about how we're going to take that next step today here in the city of Bethlehem. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to one of our great friends from DCNR, the Secretary Cindy Dunn.
Thank you. Well, since the mayor did not take credit for this great weather, I will. DCNR's been given jurisdiction over the skies by the governor, but then in return he expects us to deliver this kind of weather every time we have an event with him, and so far we've been good.
You're batting 1,000.
And when I met with him to interview for this job, he said he wants to see me outdoors on a trail or in a park wearing a logo, and I have followed through on that. And fortunately, we've been very lucky to have him come out and support our mission, which supports the lives and futures of all Pennsylvanians. So today is very exciting. You can tell by the number of logos here from DCNR, our staff is really excited about today. With the DCNR staff, just wave your hands. They all play a big role in supporting the communities of Pennsylvania. They're the professionals that help communities realize their dreams, help them create a vision and follow through on it. The Lehigh Valley is very special to us, Governor. There are 8 places in the state that we have conservation landscapes. So we looked at the Lehigh Valley. It's a burgeoning population. It has this gem of 3 cities in a row along the Lehigh River. And we created the Lehigh Valley's Greenway Initiative, where we very thoughtfully plan the trails and the connectivity and the green spaces and the parks. And we work to support the local folks that are dreaming and aspiring for a better place to live, work, and play. So this is a very special place for us. Our C2P2 grant program, the Community Conservation Partnership Grant Program, is brought to us by myriad sources of funding. The legislators you see here all played a part in it, from Congresswoman Wild fighting for Land and Water Conservation Fund, full funding, from Representative Steve Samuelson supporting Growing Greener 2 when we actually stood here with Governor Randall's team and talked about how to get this South Greenway started. From Lisa Boscola, who's always an ally in the halls of government, and Jeannie McNeil, who supports the communities in the funding to make these projects a reality. So because of that, the governor's budget included $52 million worth of grant funding for communities across the state. And he'll be talking about his announcement today, so it's pretty exciting for us. There are trails and parks and open space, and many things will be conserved and dreams made reality across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I think the mayor takes it as a pretty good signal that we're standing here today. Probably a reasonable signal to take, if I were a mayor, that the governor's making this announcement from here. Just a bit about Bethlehem and this Greenway. And Representative Samuelson and I were talking about the early days. You know, the south side of Bethlehem really needed some love, as everyone who knows it will say. It needed some attention, needed some recreational assets, needed to connect to the opportunities for jobs, needed to have something to bring up the economic value, the property values of this region, needed some green space, trees, and beauty. And the South Bethlehem Greenway is extended here and is really helping realize that vision. As part of the Link Trail, this whole vision connection between Lehigh and Northampton County of a trail system that really connects people is part of the vision of today. The Delaware Lehigh, other side of the river, big trail, this could be the biggest in Pennsylvania, 165 miles in Pennsylvania. Hate to say it, Governor, it's going to be longer than the Schuylkill River Trail when it's done. But
you're always talking trash.
Well, I like to. You're a competitive guy. I like to lay out a good competition here. So,
Mayor, we need more here.
I hear you.
On the other side of a gap here is Saucon Rail Trail, and all along the beautiful Saucon Creek. And when we were down there a couple years ago, the bike shop owner, Steve LeBrake, was talking about the 7 miles we just opened down in Saucon Valley. That 7 miles brought a lot of opportunity to Hellerton. And he talked about his bicycle shop was getting a lot more business, selling more bikes, but interestingly, he was selling bike baskets. So what's that mean? Well, that means people are using their bikes to shop. People are visiting each other in the streets. Little businesses popped up along that corridor. So just imagine a connected corridor of trails across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, what that would bring to our economy, our quality of life. People connecting into trails, people connecting in green spaces. And this grant program that the governor will be talking about helps realize that. We have a priority of top 10 trail gaps across the state. These are the big, snarly gaps, expensive ones, the difficult ones. This is one of them, and today's action will probably do a lot to close that gap. We have other top 10 trail gaps across the Commonwealth. And what's really fun for me to stand here with the governor is that he has been in many different roles in this dynamic. As a county commissioner, he knew the on-the-ground hard work it takes to do a trail, to build a trail, and he knew what it's like to need the state support when the time comes to actually build the trail. He knew what it's like to be a House of Representative member and fight for funding, and he fought for funding and got funding in a bipartisan manner across the aisle. He knew what it's like as Attorney General to support clean air and clean water so that people enjoying the natural spaces of Pennsylvania can be healthy and happy. And now as governor, he's been phenomenal for this mission. Just a month ago, we stood in a little town of Connellsville along the Youghiogheny River. It's along the Great Allegheny Passage with Mayor Bill Lincoln and Greg Lincoln. I'm sorry, I'm talking about his dad now. Mayor Greg Lincoln, who's son of Senator Bill Lincoln, who got us Growing Growth 3. But the mayor and the governor talked about the importance of the community as the governor announced the creation of outdoor recreation office. Nathan Regner standing there with a beard. Help connect the economy, the community, bring the full benefit of the future of Pennsylvania around the trails and parks and recreational assets and the businesses that we have that depend on them, like Steve LeBrake, just down right down the trail here. So the governor knows this from every corner, every angle. He gets the full story of making Pennsylvania the place to live, work, and play. I often hear him say he's competitive as hell. We at DCNR are working like hell to make him be the state everyone wants to live, work, and play in. And we're certainly willing to do our part, and the governor has given us that opportunity. So thanks again to everybody who has made this grants program possible. Thanks to the folks here along the Bethlehem Greenway who work so hard every day to bring this to reality. Now, it's my great pleasure to introduce Scott Slingerland. Scott is from the Appropriate Transportation, let me get it right, the Coalition for Appropriate Transportation. He wheeled in on his bicycle, as he always does. He does that no matter where he is. This happens to be kind of close, but if it's in Harrisburg, he'd be wheeling on his bicycle. So with that, Scott, talk us about transportation.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I did take off my bike helmet just to not intimidate anyone. But I'd like to say on behalf of CAT, Coalition for Appropriate Transportation, we are an organization that advocates for bicycling, walking, and public transit in the Lehigh Valley. This is a really awesome day, you know? It's hard to keep it short, I would try, but this is a holiday, a celebration for us. Governor Shapiro, thank you for supporting trails that connect the people of this Commonwealth. Secretary Dunn, thank you for supporting trails that connect people, places, and nature. And Mayor Reynolds, thank you for supporting trails that connect residents and visitors of this city. So this announcement has been a long time coming, with at least 10 years of hard work by the city planning department. Thank you everyone who made that possible. CAT is all about trails that go somewhere, where trails can connect where people live to useful and enjoyable destinations. People can flow between trails and local streets with ease. In the case of the South Bethlehem Greenway, this trail is an alternative to traffic congestion on 3rd and 4th Streets, State Route 412, which has blossomed to 8 lanes at the I-78 interchange, or going over South Mountain behind me. So as our population of the Lehigh Valley and Pennsylvania grows, it is ever more important to create and preserve greenways like this one that give people a quiet dose of nature when they travel through their day, and the opportunity to even take the scenic route to work. From where we gather here today, if we were to bike, walk, or roll a mile to my right to the end of the South Bethlehem Greenway, the pavement ends, the gravel gets rough, and there's little connection. As far as the community is concerned, the trail ends a mile that way. And of course, the community knows there's another rail trail somewhere beyond in Hellertown on the other side of I-78, but of course they don't connect. This project closes that trail gap from Bethlehem to Hellertown, which not only creates an additional transportation link that connects a city and a borough, it opens up possibilities to beyond, to upper and lower Saucon townships, Coopersburg, Quakertown, and connecting even mostly by trail. We'll get to the governor's home turf, to Conshohocken and Philadelphia. So where we could have a little bit of competition, if you consider the Perkiomen Trail and the Schuylkill Trail and the DNL Trail, it all makes about a 150-mile loop in eastern Pennsylvania, and showing how Lehigh Valley and eastern Pennsylvania is so very rich in multi-use trails, known in our region as the Link Trail Network. In the Lehigh Valley, where we sit today, we're not only at a crossroads of many great trails, we're surrounded by 650,000 residents who live, work, and go to school, all of whom need access to transportation and greatly benefit by opportunities for recreation. This trail connection, for example, can be bicycled by a City of Bethlehem resident who works or goes to school at DeSales University or Lutron Corporation, both of which sit along the Saucon Rail Trail 7 miles to the south. This trail connection can be used by a Hellertown resident coming north who travels to work or school right here at Southside Bethlehem's Northampton Community College, Fowler Center, or Lehigh University. So these are just a couple examples of the many practical reasons that the South Bethlehem Greenway connection with the Saucon Rail Trail is useful, but we can also consider the joy and the visceral experience of gliding along this trail behind me for fun and enjoyment. And as you could probably tell, it's not a high-flying, adrenaline-fueled type of adventure, but we're talking about recreation and healthy movement for individuals and families who are just discovering outdoor recreation, who might bike in either direction for an afternoon ice cream ride or as a way to beat the traffic for 11 days of Music Fest in August.
That's right.
Have you been there? So CAT is about streets and trails that go places. We work with clients who choose to bike, walk, or bus out of necessity, those who ride to fight climate change or for their own personal physical and mental health. Our weekly women rides and rides with community partner organizations through our programs with Lehigh Valley Greenways introduce regular people to the world of bicycle transportation, starting with enjoyable bike rides and progressing to rides that navigate city streets. Every single day at CAT, we talk with the public how to get from point A to point B using streets and trails, all particular to where somebody is coming from and going to, where they live, where they work, where they might want to go to enjoy movement and freedom. And as you all know, when you get out on the trails transcend race, gender, age, income status, and politics. For everyone frustrated with sitting in traffic, making car payments, there's an answer, and this is the kind of trail we're talking about. If this trail is indicative of the 220 local projects across the Commonwealth, then we are truly investing in the health and mobility of the people. I hope that all people can get outdoors and explore and connect with nature and where they need to go. To close, I'll mention, as our friends at the DNL say, that with their Trail Towns program, that trails bring vibrancy to towns big and small. Trails connect people to useful places and to places along the way where one can enjoy a quiet interlude amongst nature. And thank you for everyone who made this possible. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Scott. I'll come up and I missed a few people.
Thank you.
Well, Scott, you painted a great picture, ice cream. I know exactly where I'm going next. So with that, well, as I mentioned, the funding sources for our C2P2 program, our Community Conservation and Partnership Program, are myriad. It takes a village. We couldn't do what we do in DCNR to deliver to the communities what they need without support from our House of Representatives. And today we've got 2 members of the House of Representatives who are great allies for this kind of work in Harrisburg, for you to bring it back to the community and for the rest of the state. Representative Steve Samuelson will be first. In fact, I remember standing here with Representative Samuelson at the very beginning of this project, way back when, and making it happen. And Representative Jeannie McNeil will follow Representative Samuelson. So with that, Representative Samuelson, good to see you here again on a happy occasion.
Great.
Representative McNeil and I will come up together. I like the way Scott Slingerland thanks connecting our trails all over eastern Pennsylvania. Stay tuned. And it's really an honor to be here with my colleague, Representative Jeannie McNeil from the 133rd District, and our Senator Lisa Boscola, who was there at the very beginning with those Greenway, those Growing Greener grants a couple of years ago. And this Greenway is a vibrant centerpiece of our community. It connects our residents with our small businesses, with our educational institutions, with our arts venues, with our recreational opportunities here on the South Side. It's used by pedestrians, runners, bicyclists, and marching bands. I'm not kidding. If you come back on Veterans Day, you'll see the Brockle Middle School Band 3 blocks away marching down to the Veterans Ceremony down at the Steelworkers Veterans Memorial, and they'll use the Greenway. So this South Bethlehem Greenway has been a ribbon of connectivity in our community for 20 years. And with this grant that the governor's going to talk about in a minute, connecting the South Bethlehem Greenway with the Saucon Rail Trail will help our opportunities here to extend for 20 miles. So it's my honor to be here with everyone here. And I just want to thank Mayor Reynolds and his team for putting together a wonderful application. I want to thank Congresswoman Susan Wild for delivering significant federal support for this project. And I want to thank Governor Josh Shapiro for being here in Bethlehem, for being here in the Lehigh Valley, and delivering critical funds for this wonderful project, which is going to benefit our community for decades to come. So thank you. It's my honor now to introduce our senator from the 18th District, Senator Lisa Boscola.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. And I am so honored to be here today with our, I do just say, this governor has been in the Lehigh Valley more than any other governor that I've served under. And I've served under 5 already. So, yeah. So it's a testament to, how he values the whole entire state of Pennsylvania. But in the Lehigh Valley, we're the 3rd largest metropolitan area. Sometimes I felt like we were the stepchild in state government. This governor is proving we are not. We are on the map, and he's here to show and prove that he's going to help us do whatever we can in the Lehigh Valley to help grow our families. And recreation matters a lot. That's why I'm here today. I was born here on the south side of Bethlehem, probably a few blocks away. Now, I moved over to the north side, but you never take the south side out of the girl. She's always there. And so this portion, we spent $2.2 million in state funds on this over the last decade to complete this rail trail. It is getting done because of Governor Shapiro's commitment to get it done. And I just told them, I am so excited because we worked on it for years and years and years and years, and now it's going to get completed, and I'm still in office. So thank you, Governor Shapiro, for being an amazing, amazing governor.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. All right. Madam Speaker, you're up.
Yeah, no. let me just say, I'm thrilled to be here, not just because of this great project that's going to see completion, but because I'm here. And I was telling a few folks, I left home 3 weeks ago thinking I was going to be back in 4 days, and I got back late last night. So it feels really, really good to be here. And in fact, Governor, I think you've been in my district more than I have been in the last month, and that's not a good thing, and it's not a voluntary thing on my part, let me tell you. So, but good for you, Governor. I'm thrilled that you spend so much time here. But let me just say, I'm going to really keep this short. My involvement in this, first of all, let me just say these kinds of things happen because of partnerships. You've heard the expression "all politics is local," and it is. You care more about where you live and what's happening than you do necessarily about what's happening in D.C. and that kind of thing. But it takes partnerships. When you are doing projects like this that involve a whole lot of money, we call it resources, but whenever somebody in government calls it resources, basically that's money. Then, it requires investment from the federal government, from the state government, from local. And so I was absolutely thrilled when this came up as part of what we call community project funding. Community project funding is sort of like what used to be called earmarks in Washington, and then they got a bad name because it wasn't a very transparent process, and some of it was being abused. And so finally, we got back this ability to bring money back to our communities, with the idea being that the representative who serves the community is in a better position than somebody in Washington to figure out where the money should be directed. And obviously, I don't make all those decisions. I meet with folks around here. People apply for this kind of funding. But that, just to give you a little bit of the feeling of how the sausage is made. So it was reinvented as community project funding, much more transparent process. It's an application process. Every member of Congress has, for the CFPs that we submit, you have to attest and sign an oath that you're not personally invested in any of those. That was another whole thing. And some of the money, quite frankly, years ago was going to things that didn't benefit enough people. The idea now is to benefit the community with this. So $2.7 million we were able to get awarded, which was... I was absolutely thrilled, and that was the appropriations bill for that passed in December of 22, but it was part of the fiscal year 23, the year we're in now. Supposedly, we're about to start working on fiscal year 24, but we have a few things in the way before we get to that. I just want to say, people have commented on all the things you can do with this kind of thing. When you read those stories, and I know Bethlehem gets mentioned a lot, lots of places in Pennsylvania get mentioned a lot in those articles about where people should retire or where people most want to live in the United States. And one of the first things that people talk about is livability. And when you kind of drill down on it, a lot of it becomes walkability. And that is so important now. So I'm also going to take it out to the big picture. We all care about the environment. We all are worried about climate change, and we talk a lot about renewable energy and electric vehicles and all that stuff. But the fact of the matter is, when people are able to walk from point A to point B, or take their bikes, every single person can play a part in saving the climate, saving our environment. So that's the big picture for something like this. But as far as the people here in this community, being able to not get in your car and drive half a mile to go somewhere. Being able to get out and walk, first of all, it's healthier for the person. Secondly, it's just a nice thing to do, and you see people and that kind of thing. But guess who else it's really good for? Small businesses. If you're out in your car and you're going to the grocery store, you might pass a bunch of small businesses that look kind of interesting, but chances are you're not going to stop because you have to figure out how to park and all that stuff. If you're out walking, you're much more likely to stop in and visit these small businesses. So to me, this is sort of a model for what we need to see more of around our state, around the Lehigh Valley, and around the country. So I'm very happy and proud for the part that we played in this. I just think that I always say that I'm so proud to represent this district, and I really am. It's a beautiful place, a lot of beautiful people, and this is just one more terrific aspect of it, and I just can't wait until we're all connected. So, thank you.
Well, Congresswoman, welcome home,
sorry.
and thank you very, very much for being with us today. Thank you for your commitment to our communities. And as the Secretary said, it is a beautiful day here in Bethlehem, and she has promised us, Senator, sunny weather anywhere she goes, and we're grateful for that. I'm grateful to these elected officials. I'm going to speak about them in my remarks, but I'm also especially grateful to be joined today by so many of our leaders in law enforcement, especially those on four legs over there. Thank you to the Bethlehem City Police Department. We appreciate you guys every day. Thank you. As Secretary said, look, Pennsylvania is full of parks and trails and beautiful places like this, from our rural communities like those she was talking about before that we were at in Fayette County just a couple weeks ago, to more urban settings like this one here in Bethlehem. Our Commonwealth has incredible outdoor spaces, and for me, I must just tell you personally, there are a few places better than on a trail, especially when I get the chance to be on there with our four kids and my amazing wife, our First Lady of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We love strolling along that Susquehanna River in Harrisburg, where we did just this past weekend, or along the Pennypack Trail in Montgomery County, closer to our family home. And I think everybody recognizes that when you get outside, even just for a few minutes, you just feel better, right? I mean, I'm no doctor, but it kind of just feels like it lowers your blood pressure. It brings a smile to your face. And I must say that in these polarized times, it also feels like a place where you can find some commonality, right? Where you can talk to folks who may have a different view than you, might be registered in a different party, might look different than you, but you come together, and on a trail you have that moment to actually dialogue and talk and get to know one another a little bit better. That's why I love the outdoors. And I want more Pennsylvanians to have the chance to experience that here in the eastern part of our state and all the way across our great Commonwealth. Places that connect our communities and get folks outdoors. And so I'm really proud today to be here with our great Congresswoman, Susan Wild, our outstanding Senator, Senator Boscola, our representatives, McNeil and Sammy Samuelson, and of course, that's what we called him in the legislature. And of course, our fine Mayor Willie Reynolds. I wanted to come here today because I wanted to make an important announcement. I also wanted to come here today to salute the leadership you have up here. And hear me on this, these projects don't happen overnight. The mayor talked about how this one has been worked on for nearly 2 decades. And if you think about the commitment a senator like Boscola had to have through multiple administrations to get this done, together with Sammy Samuelson, with some of our newer elected officials like Representative McNeil and even the Congresswoman, the reality is, through generations of public servants here, they have seen a brighter future for Bethlehem, and they have worked together, Republicans and Democrats, to get this done. That's how we get big things done in Pennsylvania. And I wanted to be here today to make this big announcement, in part because it's a really important announcement, in part because I want to salute the kind of leadership you have here in the Valley, a kind of leadership that's just sensible. They know how to get things done. And, of course, we wanted to be here to make this major announcement that DCNR, under the leadership of Secretary Dunn, has awarded more than $52 million to over 220 local projects like this one behind me all across the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. $52 million spread out over 220 local projects that are going to help connect communities like Bethlehem, connect people through our trails, improve our parks, and help more Pennsylvanians just enjoy their time outside. Bethlehem should be the backdrop for that because of how committed they've been to creating these connections. The physical connections of our trails, and also the emotional connections of our community. Look, I've been in the shoes of great local leaders like Mayor Reynolds, and so I know how powerful these kinds of investments from the state really are. It's critical that we invest, Senator, Representatives, you know this, in our state parks. And we've done that, $112 million, historic level of investment in our state parks. But we also know that if we're going to take advantage of our great outdoors, you've got to work with local communities, and you've got to connect the dots in those local communities. I was a beneficiary of that as a local leader, as the head county commissioner in Montgomery County years ago, where we appealed to DCNR for significant resources to connect our trails, and we were fortunate to be able to receive a $1 million grant from DCNR. And through that, we were able to develop a section of the Schuylkill River Trail, which I was reminded today is not as long as maybe some others, improve access to our waterways in Montgomery County, and invest in the John James Audubon Center. Those are just a few examples of how we put these important local dollars to work. And here today, these leaders in Bethlehem are going to put these state dollars to work in your local community. I want more communities in Pennsylvania to be able to make those kinds of investments. Look, I believe this isn't just the right thing to do. I also think it's the smart thing to do. Let me explain. When we invest in outdoor recreation, when we invest in our outdoor economy, we invest in Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania's economy. All told, our outdoor recreation accounts for $14 billion. It adds to Pennsylvania's economy every year, and it sustains 150,000 jobs in our Commonwealth. Whether it's the jobs of those who kayaked with us on, what was it, the Lehigh whitewater rafting place?
Yes.
That was an awesome time. Or it's the folks in the bike shops, or the folks who benefit from having their diner along a trail. It is critically important to invest in our local economy. We see local communities strengthen by virtue of investments like the ones we are here to announce today. And so when the Saucon Rail Trail, which starts just a few miles here, was expanded to Hellertown, it's important to see what happened to the economy there. We saw a 30% increase in sales in local businesses there when that trail expanded. Since that trail was expanded, 27 new businesses have opened in Hellertown. So I wanted to be here today with these fine elected leaders standing next to this greenway, because thanks to one of these state grants, the city of Bethlehem will soon be able to link all of that together. And once it's linked together, we're going to have more than 10 miles of trails. The mayor said it's about 14 miles of trails total that are going to be connected. That means more communities that are going to have an opportunity to thrive. This is a game changer for Bethlehem. This is a game changer for the Lehigh Valley. The Commonwealth will continue to invest heavily in outdoor recreation here in Bethlehem and all across this Commonwealth. In fact, as the senator noted, thanks to her strong leadership over a long time, along with Representative Samuelson, this whole trail has been the beneficiary of over $2 million of state grants over time. And today, we're proud to announce the next tranche of funding, $500,000 that's coming right here to Bethlehem to keep this work going. Now, working alongside Mayor Reynolds and his team, we're going to build those connections. We're going to make sure this trail becomes really integral, continues to be integral in our communities. These are the kind of common sense investments we are making all across Pennsylvania. From building new trails and a boat launch in the city of Warren on the western part of our Commonwealth, northwestern part of our Commonwealth, to improving ADA accessibility in Brown Street Park and Spring City down in Chester County. We are partnering with literally hundreds of local communities to help them get the most out of their outdoor spaces. These are treasures in our neighborhoods, treasures that deserve real investment. And that's the kind of common sense investments we're making in Harrisburg. The budget which we passed brought Republicans and Democrats together to invest in our parks, in our open spaces, in public safety and education and economic opportunity. The kinds of things that are going to lift people up, the kinds of things that show people that we're out working for them every single day. Communities like Bethlehem and throughout the Lehigh Valley, they should know that we are going to continue to work with all of you to help you realize your dream, to fulfill your full potential, to invest in our local economy, and to do good by the good people of Pennsylvania. So I'll continue to invest in these outdoor spaces. I'll continue to partner with great elected leaders like those you have here. You are blessed to have these folks on your side here in the Lehigh Valley, and we are grateful to everyone who is with us today. Thank you.